Thurrock, and does that look a bit like David Cameron's Big Society?
Absolutely not. When we were dealing with the local elections, time after time after time, the big thing that came across on the doorstep was the state of the borough and how people used to really enjoy living in Thurrock and feel a real sense of pride, and how that seems to have gone. So we know that the most important thing to do is first clean up the borough, keep it clean, give people back a sense of responsibility, and get people to take ownership and feel a pride and want to live here, to feel safe when they go out, to feel comfortable in the streets. So no, it's nothing about the big society at all. It's absolutely going back to basics. Get the borough clean, keep it clean, and challenge people that aren't keeping it clean. You know, I had some casework quite recently where people have had fly tipping, and it was nothing to do with them, but because it's happened to be on their land, they've had bills coming from the council. That's really unfair. But at the end of the day,
it's not about money, it's about how you speak to people. And people from the voluntary sector who remain unnamed said they always felt when they spoke to people from Thurrock Council, A, very patronising attitude, B, as if it was that particular person in the council's money and they were going to decide whether they were going to give you, that person, their money. That's a cultural attitude that needs to change, and change sharp, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and again, I'm going to give you my perspective, and I'm not going to comment on past. My perspective of the voluntary sector is they are the most amazing group of people. And, you know, God forbid we're ever in a time when we haven't got the voluntary sector here, because I think somebody from the voluntary sector will touch each and every one of us numerous times in our lives. You know, I'd like to see us, as an administration, being there, supporting, and being, in effect, the corporate partner of the voluntary sector, guiding them, making sure they take advantage of grants and different things that are available to them, and advice, because, you know, they only see one part of it, and, you know, we do have an overall strategy that we can look at and maybe put one or two together, which actually might help. But, you know, we are there to support the voluntary sector. Doesn't mean that it's going to have money thrown at it. You know, what it does mean, we're there to listen, we're there to support, and we're there to help and guide when requested.
I mean, whenever you talk about waste, you know, sometimes it's not about spending money, it's about identifying waste. Is that over the 2 years that we've been as an online newspaper, we've gone to event after event after event run by Thurrock Council, where it's no members of the public are there, because one of the reasons they're on during daytime, and all the members of the public, all that are, at that old-fashioned thing, at work. Could you possibly do some events in the evenings? Well,
funny you should say that. I have a full-time job. So, you know, yes, I need things to be in the evenings. So people will be sort of adapting a lot of things to suit. You know, meetings will be in the evening. You know, and as you said, it isn't all about, you know, you look at waste, whatever you look at, if you look at work process improvements right across, and it's down to the smallest thing of, you know, how much paper did I waste today? You know, I did a couple of years ago a big speech about switch it off, let's save electricity, let's only have the lighting on, emergency lighting when we need to, let's make sure that all council-owned property, the lights are turned off unless there's a health and safety implication. You know, it was done for one day. You don't need it for a day. I need it done every single day, and I need a mindset change that when people leave their desk, they unplug their plugs. Everything is turned off. You know, those little bits make a difference. And you start looking at work process improvements, different things. You know, what is the council's strategy on procurement? You know, I defy anyone to tell me, because at the moment, I don't know, but we will, as cabinet members, be asking these things to make sure, and it isn't about cheap is best. There has to be a balance between quality and cost that, you know, suits it. And you need to go back and read, you know, it's plan, do, check and act constantly. You plan it, you do it, you check it, you act upon it, you refine it, you go back constantly, just seeing what you are. Are we on track? No. Why aren't we on track? What can we do to get back on track? And it's all things like that. It's a responsibility, and it's being held to account.
Sometimes looking at the Tories after the last few years and perceived splits and schisms, one always felt, where's their spin doctor enforcer? Now, you're the woman who brought Alistair Campbell to the Thameside Theatre. Are you the woman for that Rottweiler role?
I would like to think that there's something we do in work called Insights Program, okay, which actually tells you what your primary colours are, what you're strongest in, what you need to do work in. And yet I'm touchy-feely yellow is my main, followed very strongly by fiery red. So I'm great on a good day, I'm touchy-feely yellow. Don't upset me, because I do hold people to account. I do have a strong sense of responsibility. I do like things to be transparent and open, and I will hold people to account.
In fact, you mentioned your employment several times. So do you feel that councillors, we're now in 2010, do you feel that councillors now have got to not necessarily come from business and the world of work, but take on the strands and things and cultures of the world of work?
Well, I tell you, I mean, I've worked down for Wincanton, and I have worked for them for the last 3.5 years. I am a far better person now than I was 3.5 years ago, because I have learned so much about business, about process and improvements, wastage and doing that. So I think it's extremely valuable to have a broad section. So one doesn't fit all. You know, we can't have, you know, God forbid you had 10 of me. You know, it really wouldn't work. The important part is the team, and there's no I in team. It is all about, you know, John and I are very different people, but, you know, I make a very good wingman for John. You know, if you look at across our whole cabinet, we all have very different strengths. Put us together, we gel very well, and we will be strong.
Some people have said before Wednesday, wouldn't it be nice if you'd all got together in the interest of the people of Thurrock, in the circumstances we are, and created some form of cabinet of all the talents or some form of coalition? Why couldn't that happen?
Michael, you know as well as I do that the Improvement Board has been suggesting, you know, month after month, that the administration should have given chairs and vice chairs of scrutiny to the opposition role. We said right from the start we would do that, and we did that on Wednesday. You know, and I'm sorry to say, and you know, I don't mean to sort of do down councillors, but the councillors that have actually been appointed, I was extremely shocked at. Because had that have been me, I would have said, come as a bit of a shock. I'd like time to reflect, and I'll give you my chairs and vice chairs after some reflection with the obviously now shadow cabinet, and see who's best placed for this. I wouldn't have just rolled off and made snap decisions as were made, because I don't think you've got the strongest people standing as chairs. And as Gary said, he'll be scrutinising us all the way. Well, I'm sorry, Gary, but you've got the wrong people in your chair of scrutiny to do that.
Gary probably feels, well, I'll just put a couple of token people in these chairs because we'll be back in June.
I think you will find that people will see, you know, and I've seen a lot of the comments, oh God, you've got the Labour coming back. Well, you know, yes, guys, we did lose power in 2004, but being in opposition teaches you a very powerful lesson. You need to get over the arrogance. You're not always going to be in power. And as we saw on Wednesday, it's very, very narrow. It's very tight. You need to deliver, and you need to be listening to what the residents want. And so I think you'll find that you and I will have this meeting end of next May next year. And I tell you what, we will have a stronger mandate in that council chamber, because people will see that we are doing what we said we'll do.